All right, welcome back, everybody. Listen Up, Maryland, presented by Dempsey's Grill and Sportsland. I tell you, it was very difficult last night to even come up with one word to describe this special day on Listen Up, an historic moment. Welcome back, everybody. Again, it is an honor to introduce to each and every one of you Deputy First Class Amber Owens of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. Look, I owe you all the respect, Amber, not only today, but every day. I tell you, congratulations on such a momentous achievement that we are about to discuss today on this show as we celebrate you through the state of Maryland and beyond. And again, on my behalf and on my cousin's, Ryan Renner, on his behalf, I want to welcome you to Listen Up, Maryland, presented by Dempsey's Grill and Sportsland in Middletown, Maryland. Thank you for joining me this morning, Amber.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate it's a true honor to be here. And, it's a privilege and honor to be able to represent a fantastic group of people that, don't always get the recognition. I appreciate your support for law enforcement as well. With everything going on, we still have great deputies, great officers that want to serve our local community and our country. And we are very fortunate to have such a supportive community. So thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me just start off. It's surreal to be sitting down with you one-on-one today. You mentioned toward the end of April in an interview that I was watching on with WBAL news reporter Jennifer Franciotti that this whole journey will be mind-blowing, and let me just start off by saying it is mind-blowing right now that you're actually on here with me this morning, even though it's through a screen. I tell you, it can't get much better than this. My crew, Amber, that helps me out, they have been looking forward to seeing you on the show. A good friend of mine in California, her brother has autism. I went to high school with her. She cannot wait to see. I told her about you. She cannot wait to see this. So I just want to let you know, again, long-awaited interview that doesn't always happen too often, where I get lucky enough to spend a long amount of time with someone that is basically being celebrated across the nation. So
well, thank you very much.
Looking forward to it for a long time.
Me too.
So look, there's before we dive on into it, there's one person also that I wanted to thank, and I'm sure you're all too familiar with her, and that would be Sam Folan. Way back months ago when we requested you to get you on this show, she was the one that helped me get in touch with you. So again, I want to thank Sam Folan before we dive on into it.
Yeah, so Sammy's actually, we have a connection other than just the sheriff's office. So I'm a graduate of Frostburg State University, go Bobcats. And she was actually one of my she is a sorority sister of mine from back in the day. So we have a connection through college that has transpired through, and we lost touch after college, but then when I started working at the sheriff's office, we rekindled that friendship. So she's doing a great job, and she just got promoted. So congratulations, nice. Sammy. Yeah, she's doing great things. So thank you.
Go. Yes, yeah. Thank you again, Sam Folan. All right, so let's dive on into it today on Listen Up. So look, you joined law enforcement in what year did you start your career?
I officially started my career in 2014. I was a city police officer for Hagerstown City Police for about 3.5 years. Okay. And at the latter part of that portion of my career, I moved to Frederick. And it was a personal decision to serve my community where I live, and change it up because city police work and county police work are two different entities. And a lot of people breaking that down and understanding what that means is that city police work a lot of times, and we have that representation here in Frederick. The city police, they monitor and they're responsible for law enforcement within the city limits. So about 10 square miles in Frederick. Same with Hagerstown. Now the county is, I believe 664 square miles of Frederick County. It's the largest in the state. So we patrol and we have jurisdiction throughout the county. We work hand in hand with both the city and the state police to enforce laws, traffic, serve protective orders, peace orders, court order paperwork, things like that. So when I switched to the Frederick County Sheriff's Office almost a little under 4 years ago, I was able to switch gears in my law enforcement opportunities. So it was it's a great switch. I'm very happy to be here, and I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, and did you start supporting the Special Olympics right away, or did it take you some time while getting into law enforcement and then getting through the process and learning about the Special Olympics?
So I have a sister with Down syndrome. So I grew
Okay.
up with engaging with youth at a very young age with intellectual and physical disabilities. So I was very aware at a young age about Special Olympics and what it meant. The movement wasn't as in the forefront of my mind when I was younger. I just my parents treated my sister Anna. Shout out to Anna. Hey girl, hey. Um, we treated her. She was included as just a normal kid. She's very
Right.
high functioning, so she had chores, she had responsibilities, she had consequences, and that made her the young woman that she is today. She was able to hold a job. Got her high school certificate. She's very responsible, and she was a participant in Special Olympics for a short amount of time, but
Mhm.
she chose to get a job over playing sports. So, who's going to be mad at that?
Right.
It's great that she, one, had the opportunity to choose between the two,
Mhm.
and two, that she was able to have the opportunity to make that decision for herself and have a family that supported her to do that.
Yeah, that's great. And again, we'll definitely get back later on in the conversation. I did make a note about your sister because I heard about you mentioned her when WBAL had you earlier in April.
Mhm.
um, so it was early April, Amber, that I was actually sitting in at work, and an article in the Frederick News Post had caught my eye, and uh, it actually I think it was titled "Local Deputy Selected to Carry the Torch," in the
Mhm.
2022 Special Olympics in Russia. And of course, when I originally saw that, keep in mind I'm a sports fanatic, if you can't already tell by now. So what I decided to do is I click on the link, and before I could even learn it was one of our own local deputies representing not only Maryland but Frederick County. Uh,
Mhm.
you appeared on WDVM News, CBS News, WBAL, and I said to myself, "That's a wrap. I have to reach out to her," and it was that simple to get you on here. But so here we are, a month later, and you have been selected to carry the flame of hope throughout Russia as part of the 2022 Special Olympics World Games.
Yes.
Tell us how it all got started. Who you mentioned your sister in your family that inspires you. Is there anybody else in your family, and for the reason of you doing this?
So, I honestly, like, looking back through everything, I've always tried to be an advocate for individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities. I had a negative experience with people in the community when I was younger with my sister, and I took it from that point on to really, stand up for what I believed in about, the abilities of these individuals who just sometimes get pushed aside by members in society. And
Right.
who would have thought, when I did my first torch run in 2014 in the police academy,
Mhm.
that my opportunities and the events and the people that I've met, the connections, the family that has grown throughout that time frame, who would have thought running that first torch run as a cadet
Yeah.
would have afforded me such a I'm not speechless very often, but
Mhm.
the speechlessness that, I just hope that by demonstrating my commitment to these individuals, this group of fantastic people with such talent,
Mhm.
that they know that it is true at heart. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to be provided those opportunities. So I stand by, meaning that, what I said was, it's mind blowing because I still can't fathom the
Yeah.
realisticness that my peers nominated me to represent the United States, to represent to Frederick County, like small. It seems so small, yet it's going to be so catastrophically ginormous that
Yeah.
I never would have fathomed, like I said, from that first torch run that I did
Mhm.
in the police academy to now running. Let's see, I think I I try to get involved and run an average of like 2 to 3 torch runs a year.
Okay.
So since 2014 and then on, not to mention when I would go to international conferences,
Uh-huh.
they would have them there. So I've run a torch run in the Bahamas. I've run
Whoa,
one
wow.
in Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. I've run one in Nashville, Tennessee. I ran one on the strip of Las Vegas. And
Wow.
so, again, I'm so very fortunate to have these opportunities to continue to represent not only our community, but, those members in our community who just want to be included,
Right.
like they
Right.
just want to be a part. And
Mhm.
sports is a huge way for us to be able to include those people.
For sure. So you're no stranger to traveling then. You've been around, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But never to Russia.
Never to Russia. Nope.
This will be the first time.
This will be my first time. I have a
Okay.
couple friends who are fluent in Russian, so
Okay.
I'm trying to pick up a couple words here and there. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I saw leading up to this, writing up my plan here, my script. The run for the 22 World Games will take place from January 9th to the 22nd next year. And the team will consist of 96 law enforcement officers that I saw, 10 Special Olympics athletes, and then 14 logistics personnel. Tell us what you expect when you arrive. I mean, I know it's still early, but did they give you like strict guidelines to follow? I know it's your first time, I understand, so you might not be all too familiar yet with what's going on. But did they send you anything yet? Are you supposed to report, at a certain place? Are they catering you, like taking care of your food, bus rides, or how's it work?
Yeah, so what my understanding is what's going to happen is so we're all split up into teams. Law
Mhm.
enforcement split up into, I believe that it's 10 teams. I'm on team 8. Team 8 is great.
Okay.
Um, and so we have a team that we're going to be sticking with. And what's going to happen is we're all going to meet. We're all from obviously around the country, around the world.
Right.
And so we're all flying into, I believe, Moscow. I
Okay.
think that's what our plans are. And once we get there, we'll have our logistics team kind of like setting us out as to where we're going to be. The ultimate goal for any world game um, uh, torch runs for
Uh,
pre ceremony is to have the teams spread out across the country that you're going to be doing, and then they'll run in towards the central location, which this will be Kazan, Russia.
okay.
And
All right.
when we do those mini torch runs as we're working our way in towards the central location, we're doing mini torch runs. But when we're done, we stop. We give speeches. We have the athletes present their speeches on,
Wow.
what Special Olympics means to them. We have different like ethnicities and cultures that come together who, my team consists of someone from New York, someone
Wow.
from Japan.
Oh my
I
God.
believe we have Switzerland. If I'm right, Switzerland, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like we're all still getting to know our team also.
All right.
So we have logistics meetings, we have team leader meetings. Shout out to my team coach June. Hey girl, she's a New Yorker, so
Okay.
um, it and you know it's wild because opportunities like this, we're running these torch runs and we're having these international conferences with people who have ranks of chiefs, bureau leaders,
Wow.
captains of these other agencies. And I'm just a DFC. Like, I'm just a deputy first class. I'm the groundman, and I'm rubbing elbows with chiefs of the Bahamas, like the police departments in the Bahamas. And
Yeah.
but they don't act like that.
Right.
They don't act like, oh well, I'm the chief, I'm executive, I'm the sheriff of such and such agency.
Mm.
It's so they're so humble, and it's so fantastic being surrounded by people like that, that between the athletes and the opportunities that come together and the connections, it's intense. It's so intense.
Yeah, and that's why, man. I had to admit that's why I took you up on this interview. I said, man, we have to get her on here as soon as possible. Before way before next January comes, because your passion for it, and I could just tell that your love for this. And again, I'm sure it's a lot to do with your sister, but not only that, like you said, it's so many more people that's spending their time and putting forth their effort to making sure that it's a successful run.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so look, Russia. I looked last night; they were 7 hours ahead time zone of the United States, but I don't think that's going to be a huge issue for you. I'm sure you're adapting just fine to that time zone once you arrive there, and that's the last thing on your mind, is you have so much to look forward to. How do you plan on raising the bar, Amber? I wanted to ask you even higher. Once the Olympics conclude next year, which I'm sure you didn't even think about that yet when it's all said and done, but just to continue to be a voice, like you mentioned, for these athletes and support them. Is there anything that you plan on doing long term?
So, personal goal for me, I'm the regional coordinator for Western Maryland. So, what that means is that I'm responsible for engaging law enforcement in not only Frederick County, but also Washington County, Garrett County, and Allegheny County. So, all the Western
Wow.
areas. So, long term, and something that I've been working on as regional coordinator, is to get just one more law enforcement officer involved. COVID's kind of thrown us a curveball as far as involvement with activities and events for these athletes. Right now, they're working on having a couple activities open up. So we're adapting to get those law enforcement officers involved. We're getting them out to the practices if they're possible, watch the athletes interact, and kind of just having those me introducing those law enforcement officers to my friends who are athletes, introducing law enforcement officers to the coaches that I have met, so that they see, okay, out in Cumberland or in Frostburg, even Frostburg City Police Department and Frostburg State University Campus Police, they've been extremely active in trying to engage with their local programs. And that's something long term that I want to continue to do, because there are opportunities for us, regardless of COVID, to engage with those local programs. And ultimately, I can be a spokesperson for everybody in the entire state, but when I'm able to engage with my Frederick County athletes, like, they know me on a personal level. They've seen me at their practices, and it means that much more. When my Frederick team, 2019, during softball, I was able to we have a thing called the 180 games, where law enforcement played against Special Olympics athletes, or I'm sorry, yeah, and then they played against the coaches, and the athletes were the umpires. So,
Wow.
like, they got to engage, and they got to be the umpires. But our Frederick County athletes won several medals for their talents during softball. And I was able to witness that. And I sent you pictures of those. And,
Yeah.
when I see them holding those medals and their pride because they work so hard, and they, that means so much to me, because I'm a Frederick County resident. Those are my friends, those are my family members, away from the family that I have 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
building those connections with local law enforcement is huge.
Yeah. And I'm glad you bring the pictures up. Again, they'll be scrolling on the screen here in a slideshow. I'll get into that in just a second. Remind me to ask you about some of the pictures there. When you take a step back, Amber, and think to yourself, wow, like, you're now supporting not only Special Olympic athletes, but uh, that not only the ones that shine in their respective sports, right, but in the USA, but again, they are from all across the world now. I mean, what a feeling that must be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking about those international conferences that I've attended before. Athletes have been there from other countries and other states, and developing those relationships again. And just culturally, how do you get treated? Like, do you get embraced by individuals? What programs does your local program host for you with law enforcement, that maybe we could bring back to our own state or our own country? And because cultures are different,
Right.
opportunities are different. what you're able to achieve in one state may not work for another. We do the polar bear plunge here in Maryland. In Texas, that's not really something that the athletes can do. So they tell us about like their tank dunks or their swimming pool plunges that they do because they see it's a huge success here and they love swimming. So, you know, sitting down and talking to those different athletes and just seeing the connections is really, it's so great.
I bet. Yeah. I can't wait to hear about it. Once you return back in next year, back in January. I get you come home the same month then, I guess, in January.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yep. We can't, I tell you, so many people I know that are waiting to hear about it, your experience. So tell a little bit, put the focus on you for a second. Tell me what your favorite Olympic sport was while growing up. What did you love to watch? Your go-to sport?
I think my special the Olympic sport that I enjoyed watching was like ice skating and skiing. Neither of which I've ever participated in. I mean, I like to ice skate for fun, but I think the precision of ice skating and trusting someone when they're doing couple stuff to like throw you up in the air and then like do those things. I'm like, that's a lot of trust. You got a lot of faith in that person. So more power to you.
That's
and
right.
then the skiing part, it's just like they're so fast. And I've fallen on snow while I was skiing, and I know that it hurts real bad.
I bet.
So the talent of like the slalom, like ski, and I've seen athletes do it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I envy you because I snowboard and I still fall. Like, but you guys can weave in and out of it's just so ice skating and skiing.
My grandmother is crazy. She always liked to used to watch it. Well, she still does. She likes figure skating, you know, how they the costumes, the different outfits they wear and this and that. But you're right. It's a lot of trust that goes into that because if someone drops you, man, that could be it.
Yeah.
Hey, so I saw again, going back to WBAL when they had you on, when this news broke about a month ago, it was correct me if I'm wrong, it was in early April when this news came out.
That's correct. Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Yeah. And I saw a gentleman, he mentioned names like Jenny Herman from Carroll County, Larry Mills from St. Mary's County, and Elena, I don't know if you can help me with this last, Camacho, I think it is.
Camacho, yep. Elena Camacho, yep.
From Anne Arundel.
Yep.
Athletes from Maryland going to the World Games, 3 of them representing Maryland. Do you have any connections with them or you have never met them yet?
So Elena Camacho is actually our law enforcement athlete ambassador. And what that means is that I want to get this right, every 2 years, I believe, we nominate an athlete who is involved in the law enforcement torch run to sit on our council. Wow. And the first year is a mentoring year from the athlete previous. The second year is their year to mentor or to do their things. I'm sorry. And then the third year is their mentoring year. Okay. Elena has been with us. She actually came with us to the Las Vegas Law Enforcement Torch Run conference. Wow. And so she and I were roommates during that conference, and we were able to build a connection. We have a love of cats together. So she is a fantastic person. She's such an outgoing athlete. She's a great speaker, constantly working on her leadership skills through programs, always willing to help whenever, we have a fundraiser. So she and I have had several interactions, and like I said, we were roommates for the international conference in Las Vegas. Nice. And she's a good time. So we had a good time.
Yeah, that's good. Take me back, Amber, to the day that you were notified. I just went over that. Of course, the news broke last month. Take me back to the day that you received this news that you would be making this once in a lifetime trip to Russia. Just your initial reaction and the feeling that you had when you found out.
Well, first of all, when doing the things for Special Olympics, the law enforcement torch run, and being on the executive council, constantly working to better myself as a leader in general.
Mm.
I don't think about the wild opportunities. Like, this is such a privilege because, your program is taking care of you financially to be able to represent this. Your agency is supporting you to go for a long extended period of time away from your law enforcement duties to, showcase your talents. And when I was told that my peers nominated me to be afforded this opportunity, one, I was very, very humble. I'm very, very humbled by, the fact that my peers believed in me or recognized all the things that I've been doing without even like, I jumped to the opportunity to help. I don't like talking about myself like that, but they see that, and I just see it as I'm helping. I'm just
Right.
doing what I love to do. Helping others makes me happy. Helping others brings me up. In our job, we see a lot of negative things. We see a lot of sad things. We're not called to people's birthdays all the time. We're being called to service on their worst days. Their life is being destroyed, and so I have used Special Olympics as a means to counterbalance any negativity that's been brought to light. I'll call my athletes. I'll call my buddy Adam Hayes. He's an athlete here from Frederick County. I've known him for quite some time. I'll call him and I'll say, buddy, I'm having a rough day. Or, for the WBAL interview, I called him because he knows Jennifer Franciati, like, personally, because he's worked with her. He's a media specialist. And I'm like, buddy, I'm nervous. Like,
Right.
I don't, this isn't me. This is you. Like, you do this. And he's like, you'll do great. Like, so I still don't think that I fathomed the reality, that I was nominated, one, to be able to be afforded the opportunity, and two, I don't know. I just want to continue to to be, serving. I want to continue to serve and help. So.
Yeah, I tell you,
Yeah,
it's
and I want to demonstrate that for other officers.
right.
It doesn't cost money.
Right.
It's your time.
Mhm.
And that's the huge thing.
Yeah. And again, that's, we want to dedicate, actually, as this interview goes through the editing process this week, we want to just not only dedicate today to you on this sports podcast, but the whole week, the whole weekend. And we definitely will keep you in our thoughts as you travel over there next year. Can't wait. Again, talk about how great it will feel, though, to be able to see people reunite again. Especially, and the reason I bring that up, Amber, this morning is obviously after this pandemic that we are trying to overcome. It looks like potentially it could be coming to an end soon. A sense of normalcy, right? Does that add any significance and maybe more emotions, as you prepare to pack your bags and gear up for January?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of these athletes haven't seen their friends or other family members in a really long time, and they haven't gotten together for what they would consider serious competition. I mean,
Right.
these athletes are competitive. They work year round to perfect their craft, and it's detrimental when they can't do that. They need the gym. They need to be around their athlete friends. They need to have their coaches. And we've had a couple things virtual. Special Olympics of Maryland and other programs have done great jobs to keep our athletes engaged through virtual workouts, virtual meetings, virtual dance parties on Friday nights here in Maryland. And I see on Facebook and Instagram our other athletes from other states and countries. They're posting, things that are keeping them busy. We had a hashtag 10 a day until it's okay. And so we had law enforcement officers who are doing physical activities for all varieties of physical abilities and posting every day. And we were asking athletes to get engaged and get involved and to post the same things. So I think it's going to be great to hug my friends, my athlete buddies that I've missed, because they they're just incredible people, and I miss them, and I try to keep in touch with as many people. And technology is great, but nothing beats an athlete's hug. So
That's right. That's right. I love that response, man. I mean, a hug, man. It's just like what's the saying? It's just like a smile. You know, it can mean
yeah.
a smile means 1,000 words or whatever they say. Yeah. So I'm sure a great feeling. Amber, so the actual law enforcement torch run I saw was founded in 1981, the largest grassroots fundraising movement for the Special Olympics. Are there any other events back here in the U.S. or in Maryland that you take part in each year that supports the Special Olympics, or is it just you put your main focus on this torch run?
So we have a couple large events that go on not only in Frederick or in our state, but we have we have two plunges that usually happen in our state. We have the Sandy Point Plunge, Maryland State Police Sandy Point Plunge, usually happens in January.
Okay.
And then before winter games for our athletes, the MSP, Maryland State Police Polar Bear Plunge in Deep Creek or the Deep Creek Dunk. I'm sorry, Deep Creek Dunk usually happens, and that is the catalyst for our winter games that happen usually the Monday following that event. The event's on a Saturday up in Deep Creek, and then winter games start. Athletes competitions start on that Monday, Tuesday, and then that's how that works. We also have events like Cover the Cruiser. So down in Ocean City, my buddy Nishan, he's a police officer for the Ocean City Police Department. He's going to have events on the boardwalk. And the Cover the Cruiser event is a fundraiser for Special Olympics where you get like these little, you know how you go to coffee shops or something, they have those little stickers that you can like dedicate to a person.
Yeah.
A fundraiser that they do is you pay $1 and you get to put a message, and it covers the cruiser with like all the stickers. So for every $1, someone gets to post the things on there. We also have our law enforcement torch run t-shirts and hats. They're a huge thing. They change every year. We have them available. If you need one, contact me. They're $15, and the hats to match are $15 as well. So that's a huge thing that even through COVID, we're able to still have, so that we have our torch runs. Both we try to have mini torch runs, COVID friendly, of course. And then we have virtual runs so that people can be safe and feel comfortable with that. So Cover the Cruisers, Cops on Rooftops, which is where cops like to go up on top of Dunkin' Donuts and ask for donations. They have some like giveaways that they like to do. We do that in Frederick on the Golden Mile occasionally. The city police does that. So we try to shake it up, and we try to get really creative, especially through COVID.
Very involved. Very involved. I love that. Special or actually more events rather than just the torch run. A lot of them, a lot more than I knew of. So again, that's awesome. It's amazing. What you all do. Not only you're busy, in your own careers, but then you take your own time, your own free time, and put that into other events, to support these athletes. It's nothing like it, man. I praise you all so much for doing that. How about I don't know if you're ever familiar with of course I'm sure you knew him, Dave Greenwood. He used to be with the Maryland State Police. Was he ever involved with the Special Olympics or was because I remember my first ever law enforcement torch run t-shirt came from Mr. Greenwood. So I want to shout out to him and say hi to him. Hope he's doing well.
Yep. So retired. I don't want to mess up his title because I think he's retired trooper first class. Maybe I'm not certain. Please, Dave, don't get me. Yeah. But he is a retired Maryland State Trooper. He was based out of Frederick County Barracks, and yes, so he is actually it's really cool. His connection not only through the law enforcement torch run, but he also is an umpire for their softball games during summer games here in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
So he not only did, the law enforcement torch run aspect, but he also was an umpire who volunteered his time through that. And his wife, Pam, hey, Pam, She helped out during summer games as well, making sure that the athletes were safe and medically treated if they needed any assistance. So,
Nice.
you know, they are a fantastic dynamic duo as well. But yeah, Dave, he's an umpire, and I believe he's still planning on doing that, even though that he's retired. But he bought his 2021 Torch Run T-shirt from me too. So
Nice.
I'm fortunate to work with this in the same building as the Maryland State Police.
Yeah.
So where he worked out of, we worked out of the same building. So I'm kind of incorporating new troopers to kind of take over what he was doing for their side.
Right.
But yeah, he's a great person, great
He
singer
is, yeah.
too. Just so you know, he's huge into his choirs, church choir, and he's awesome. So he's a great person.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is. I knew him. I was introduced to him back in, I think it was 2017, and
Yeah.
I don't know him all too. I'm not all too familiar with him, but yes, he very great, very nice person, Mr. Greenwood. So I want to shout out to him again, say hello to him. Hope he's doing well in his retirement. Going back to what do you say? The polar bear plunge? Is that what it's called? Some of the dunks or the Deep
Yeah.
Creek dunk? Yeah, I tell you,
So-
Amber, if you can get me hooked up with that one year, I've been thinking about that. I've seen it on TV for so many years, and I think to myself, man, I'm still debating on whether or not I should get in that cold water, man. That's pretty chilly.
Well, I tell you what, Sandy Point has been hit or miss temperature wise, because some years it's been like Arctic cold.
Okay.
I think the last time that we did it, 2019,
Okay.
sounds like it seems like forever, but 2019, it was warm the day before, and then I
Right.
believe the clouds rolled in and it was snow flurrying, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
So the water was a little bit warmer, but the air was cold. And obviously on the bridge, I don't know if you've ever been on the Bay Bridge, but
Yeah.
it could be snowing on the Annapolis side, and then there's like a invisible equator for temperature in between in the middle of it, and then on the other side it would rain. So the Sandy Point plunge is not that cold. Deep Creek, on the other hand, my first year doing that in 2000 and I want to say my 2014, after I got out of the police academy, they were cutting out 9 inches of ice on the cutout where we would do. So they have like a barricaded or a blocked off area so that the divers, Maryland State Police divers, can go out, and they have to be like chest deep so that that's as far as people can go. Safety first, they line up all along so you can't go all the way out into the water.
Right.
But yeah, my first 2 to 3 years, I think it was 2 years, there was in like blocks, they were cutting out ice on the hour every hour because it was so cold. It hasn't been that way in a while though. It hasn't, I think it's past 2 to 3 years, it hasn't been that cold. It's been cold, but not like inches of ice cold.
But not that cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you,
I'll definitely hook you up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested in it. Again, so you're telling me there are heroes there to save me. If I know how to swim, but I'm just afraid if I jump into that cold water, man, I don't want to make a fool out of myself. You know what I mean?
No, you're good. And we're actually having a Blue Lake Leap in Russia. On top of the torch run, we're also doing a polar bear plunge in Russia while we're there. Yeah, so we're raising money to do that.
Nice.
And I'm super excited because the water is not going to be as cold as people would think. And I feel like I've dunked in colder water before here in the United States. So I'm excited about it.
All right. Amber, I promise I won't keep you too much longer here. Back to your sister, though. I wanted to just bring this up. You mentioned her being bullied during her life, and I'm guessing that was during her younger life, and of course when you was younger as well. And that was your main reason for standing up for these athletes and being a voice for the ones who sometimes have no voice. Was there a specific time or incident that when it all came full circle and it really hit you, something that happened, or was it just the buildup over time, seeing her get put down and adding up all at one time, or was it one specific, thing that happened?
So for me, it was one specific incident, and I remember it pretty well. Story is my mom and my stepdad got together, and Anna is actually my stepsister. I don't see that. She's my sister.
Right.
So my mom and my dad, they took us to the arcade. They were walking around the mall. They had some errands to run. And my sister and I were at the skee ball game, and she loves skee ball. Like that's her jam. Like it's always been her jam. I think I was probably like 9 or 10 years old, and she's 2 years younger than I am, so I'll put her about 8 years old. 7 or 8 years old, and we were playing skee ball, and I was just sitting there helping her out, and this group of teenagers came up, and they said, "What is she doing here? She doesn't need to be here." They used the derogatory R word. We don't use that in my family, and said that she needs to go. She shouldn't be here. They were older than me. They were bigger than me, and I was baffled because I was never exposed to such like hatred or negativity. Like she was doing nothing wrong. She was playing the game. She wasn't being loud. And even if she was, it's none of their business. The arcade's loud anyway. We were in this little cornered area where the skee balls game was. I remember where we were at, and I was so floored. And it's so funny looking back, like the spirit inside such a small human being of being so angry at something. I looking back, I'm like, man, I had a lot of like like I said, I wasn't exposed to the negativity that she experienced, but watching that one thing, I faced them. I told them that they needed to leave. They don't know who she is. They need to back off, and maybe have used some choice words that a 10-year-old shouldn't use, but I was defending my sister. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of my sister. I'm not ashamed that she has Down syndrome. I'm not ashamed that, she has certain limitations, but she also has such talent and such a heart of gold that, that some families aren't fortunate enough to showcase or to support. And for that, I will continue to be that voice and be that support for those individuals. And yeah, so that one incident at the arcade, those bullies were just too much, and it just only took one time that I just wasn't having it. So from that point on, very young in my life, I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to treat individuals with respect, regardless of your ability. And it just blew my mind that these people were older than I was, and they had such just lack of respect for a kid who was playing a game. Like, I can't believe you. So
no words for it.
it.
I have no words for it, man. It's amazing. That's the way I look at it. It's amazing that you stood up, like you did at such a young, and you were only 10 years old.
Yeah, I was only about 10 years old. Yeah, I couldn't have been any older than that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I tell you, for you to have her back like that at that young of age. Look, shifting our focus just for a second this morning, Amber, off of the Special Olympics topic. I think it's safe to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's safe to say that you are a fan of sports in general, as I'm taking it. Maybe I'd like to watch, some football, baseball here and there. I don't know. And I'm sure that you mentioned that you enjoy figure skating and enjoy watching just about any Olympic event, if it's on. Again, shifting our focus just off of the topic this morning, on to Michael Phelps, simply known as the greatest Olympic athlete ever. Born right down the street from an hour east of us in Charm City. It seems like so many sports legends are born right here in this beautiful state of Maryland, right? I mean, just tell me just how lucky. I couldn't wait to ask you this to see your reaction and your response. Tell me just how lucky you feel to have been able to witness and live through what Michael Phelps has done during his prime. And do you think we will ever see another swimmer quite like him?
I mean, it's fantastic to be able to live through such a legendary, figure in the sports field, especially with our athletes, swimmers. And one of my closest friends, who's a swimmer who looks up to Michael as well, And I'm hoping, to kind of even things out, that we see a female, version of Michael working it out,
Yeah.
and just, or someone who just, can kind of raise. I mean, we're always looking to one up, as far
Right.
as athletic talents are, natural born talents, and through history for baseball, everybody looked up to Babe Ruth and
Yeah.
his talents and stuff. And we want to look up as we move forward to, but Michael, he has overcome so much adversity as well. He's truly a role model for swimmers out there. And it's just, he is very vocal about his life
Mhm.
and what got him through all of his cycle of life. And I think that goes to show that he's a truly compassionate, very humble person, and that's not easy to do. He's a very
Mhm.
hardworking person too. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll see. I don't know. I'm hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
because that'd be great. It goes to show
Yeah.
that he set such a high standard for athletes to work towards. I mean, when I was growing up playing sports, I played soccer. I was like, Mia Hamm is the greatest person in the whole entire world, and I want to be able to do that. So, and since then we've had progression of female athletes in soccer that have stepped up their game, and Abby Wamball, like, so I was a huge high school and growing up, it was soccer, soccer, soccer. Occasionally it was softball. Um, and then because we didn't have a swim team in high school, I wish I
Okay.
did, but we
Yeah.
didn't. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I tell you, what I think is amazing, again, what you're accomplishing and what you're getting ready to do in January. Dedicating this video to you and I think it's safe to say your sister, if I had the choice, obviously, unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do this, but if I had the ability to do it, I would definitely surprise you this morning and bring Michael Phelps on with us so he could congratulate you because I'm sure that he would be just as proud as anybody else of you if he knew about you. I tell you.
well, I mean, honestly, I don't feel like I deserve any praise. It's truly the
Yeah.
athletes that, they deserve the praise. They're doing the hard work.
Yeah.
They have such goals that they work so hard for every day. They train, they idolize these athletes, and they work hard. And
Yeah.
so it's just truly my pleasure to be a part of their lives
Mhm.
and to just be included in their journeys.
Right.
So I
Right.
would I would I would definitely flip the switch and be like, not me, it's all them, like,
That's all.
seriously. So
During your experience, Amber, so far supporting these great games and the talented athletes in the Special Olympics, what life lessons have you taken out of it? As far as like, did you explore a whole new side of yourself um, that you never thought existed?
honestly, I'm a very competitive person,
Hmm.
not an aggressively competitive person, but you know when I got involved with the Special Olympics, they have an athlete oath. And the athlete oath is, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Okay.
And if you sit and listen to you think about what that means, is that I recognize there's a challenge. I recognize that I want to win. That's why
Mhm.
I'm working hard.
Right.
But it also recognizes the fact of, I understand there's a potential to fail.
Mhm.
And I can be humble in that failure because I gave it 110% of my life, my work, my pride to work towards that goal.
Yeah.
And I was brave. I I went in front of my peers who can be the most judgmental people in the world, and I failed. But that's okay, because you wanna know why? I tried. And it's such a profound statement that I utilize that in my everyday career. It's just like, you know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna be the best part of myself. If I don't succeed, well, I didn't fail completely. I learned something. I learned that this task wasn't completed best this way. So how
Mhm.
can I go about that task next time a different way? And these athletes are a prime example of that athlete oath. Let me win. But if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. Let me go forth and be strong and show them that I'm giving everything that I can. And it just that's it. That statement in itself is what I have learned most in this whole experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. I like that response a lot. Yeah, and again, it means a lot. Obviously, it means a lot to you, but again, they couldn't do it without people like you, that back them and support them. For all these years that you've stood up for them. I tell you, and what a coincidence, right? I mean, uh, as it looks like that we are nearing the end of this pandemic and the Olympics torch, I was reading into it. I was very interested to see some of the facts and the cool things that go behind this. The fact that the torch symbolizes peace, I saw tolerance, friendship, and hope, all of which we are in desperate need for, especially nowadays, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many things, there's so many meanings and connections through that torch. It's a symbol that is international. It's something that we can all look at regardless of walk of life and see that this is what brings us together. This is the beacon that so many people enjoy. So it's profound. It really is profound.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I'm positive that there are so many individuals out there that look up to you as we wrap up this interview today. Um, so many people look up to you. Again, I'm positive on that. They look up to you as a role model, and they see the positive outlook that you teach and you inspire, that you give so many people that are looking for answers in such unprecedented times. And yes, sure, it's nice to get rewarded for hard work, but that I could see, obviously that's not why you do it, and that's why not a lot of people do it. They do it because they want to help people, as you mentioned. And but what is one message before we head on out? What is one message that you like to tell the people viewing this video, especially targeting the younger generation? When I ask you this, the younger generation, the younger kids that actually look up to you and that's going to be watching this video, what's a message that you want to tell them, that maybe they want to be kind of like you one day, and that is to help people and just maybe carry the torch just like you in years to come?
A message that I would say to others, and especially the youth, is be unique. Embrace your uniqueness and appreciate others for theirs. Um, Athletes are unique. Staff members that work with athletes are unique. Their parents are unique. Everyone goes through adversities in their life one way or another.
Mhm.
Clearly, I have my own experiences, and there have been others throughout life personally that, make me who I am.
Mhm.
And let your experiences make you who you are. Push aside the negative experiences and find the light that continues. Don't let yourself lessen your standards
Mhm.
because someone wants to tell you no. If
Right.
you want to do something good for others, do good for others. Don't expect reward. That's not what it's about.
Yep.
Doing good things for others means that you find joy in doing things for others selflessly. And that's something that's what gives me joy. That's what makes me full. That's what I constantly exude. And I hope that I demonstrate to others is that I am unique. There's no shortage of uniqueness with
Yeah.
what and I say unique because it also can be categorized as weird.
Right.
Be weird. Embrace your weirdness, if anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when it comes to it, we're all weird in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. And it's those weirdnesses that connect us. It's the differences. It's the I learn from your weird and you learn from mine. And
Yeah.
it's just, we have so many things to be very fortunate and blessed for.
Yeah.
And I choose to embrace those things and just be unique, enjoy it, and be unique and shine.
Yeah. Before, and also I wanted to bring up the fact of the pictures. Unfortunately, I'll be honest now, we don't have the ability to actually see them on the screen with us this morning for this interview. But like I promised you, we will get them on the slideshow as this video progresses through the week and gets put out. Again, so many pictures, and they were all amazing. I couldn't actually pick one of my favorite ones out of them all. All of them, I loved all of them. Is there any pictures that you sent over to have us published in the video that you want to mention? Some of them that stood out to you, some of your favorite memories?
So there are a couple of them. One is there are a couple of them with my athlete, my athlete partner, Stephanie Piles. Shout out to Stephanie. She's in Allegheny County. She asked me to do the super plunge with her this past year. And we kind of had to modify it with COVID and everything like that. But she has been a newfound friend. We've gotten to know each other more over the past year and a half, 2 years. And she and I plan on doing the polar bear plunge, the 24-hour super plunge, which is 24 plunges in 24 hours. We plan on doing that again. So those pictures with her, it was a freezing cold day. You'll see the chart of the plunges that we accomplished throughout that day. Okay. So those pictures are fantastic. I think I submitted you the one with all the deputies. And if you notice, they're all female deputies. Yeah. There's a representation that, people always ask you, like, as a female in law enforcement, is it hard? All these things. So they were the ones that were able to come out and, really like support and we want to be positive role models for other women who want to be in law enforcement, girls who want to be in law enforcement. So that was a huge thing. And our canine was in it. Shout out to our puppy. He's fantastic. Odin. Yeah. And then there's also, I think I sent you this one, and there's a picture of athletes in all yellow, and it's at a softball field. That was when our Frederick County softball team, our Frederick County athletes softball team won, and they were jumping around their coach. Shout out to Coach Megan. And I think that's the one where they were dumping a cooler on top of her because they were so excited. And it was such a fantastic moment. Like, I just was like, this is it. This picture depicts, like, the time, the energy, the coach's efforts, all the things that, incorporate athletics that Special Olympics was founded on. Special Olympics was created to bring individuals with intellectual disabilities on the playing field to be included. Sports is what brings people together of all colors, races, ethnicities, sexualities, culturals. It doesn't matter. Sports in some shape or form will bring people together. And that's what they meant. Eunice Kennedy Shriver, again, Maryland, founded Special Olympics. Wanted to do. She wanted to bring people together because the Kennedy family was very involved in sports. They were a very competitive family, and they had she had a sister who had an intellectual disability, and at the time it wasn't embraced. It wasn't accepted. And so as she got older, she was Eunice was a representative for individuals with intellectual disabilities, and she was at the forefront of what it meant for inclusion. And so that was huge. And those pictures just depict everything that just lights up the world and lights up my life. And, I'm very, very fortunate to be a part of their talent and their journey.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that right there I'm glad 100% now. It's no question. Glad that you come on this morning and join me, because you talk about how sports joins people together. Because a lot of times, people look at me like, sports fanatic. I mean, they diehard Orioles. You're talking to diehard Orioles and Ravens fan here, and even include the Special Olympics, whatever sports you want, And I think it's just amazing. At the end of the day, win or lose, like you mentioned, it doesn't really matter. You put forth the effort, and at the end of the day, an example I bring up to you is a gentleman down the road here. He had COVID. He was hospitalized for a while. Pitcher John Means for the Baltimore Orioles, right? He pitches a no-hitter. I don't know if you saw it on social media just a couple of weeks back. Yeah. And his initial reaction, it just brought a grown man into tears, in a hospital bed. So I like that you bring that up, because a lot of people think it's sometimes, I don't say a joke, but they don't see how obviously grown people shedding tears over a game. That's why I try to explain to people more than a game, if you can relate.
Right. Yeah. So like if you've ever been to and I like to go to Orioles games. I like to go to the Washington football games, pre-COVID, obviously. I'm a Giants fan and a Yankees fan, born in Jersey. Don't hate me.
Okay.
But those arenas, those fields, when you're in the crowd with people, you're sitting next to others who like the same team or don't like the same team. Yeah. Regardless of that, when your team hits a home run, you're looking at everybody who has an Orioles jersey on. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, woo, 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 yeah, buddy. You see that? You see that? Like, I don't know that person.
Nope.
I don't know that person either. Yeah. But it's that sport. It's that we block out everything outside this stadium. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. You block out everything outside of that stadium. And in that moment, you are an Orioles family. Yeah. You are a Washington family. Yeah. And it doesn't matter who you are, what job you have, what race you are. Like, it is just, you are an Orioles family, and we are celebrating the Orioles because that is what brings us together. Yeah. And that is what these athletes, that picture that I have of the Frederick County Special Olympics softball team, that was that moment. Yeah. That was the, like, those are my buddies. Yeah. That's my team. That's my county. Like that's just the energy that it just in sports. And it's just, that's it. That is the all encompassing, bring us together. So I'm really excited to get sports back in focus and like bring us together. So hopefully
and I can't wait, right? I mean, in January, you talk about, it feels like you enter a sports stadium, knowing no one, but by the end of the game, you've made friends with everybody in the whole stadium. Absolutely. So we can't wait to see the relationships, that you discover on this trip, once in a lifetime trip in January. Amber, I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to let you go. Again, this presentation of Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's Growing Sportsland with Deputy First Class Amber Owens. I can't tell you, while you're on the screen here, how much we appreciate it. Ryan, even though he could not join us today, he wanted me to shout out to you and tell you hello, and he wishes you all the luck in January.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Sorry we missed you, but anytime. I appreciate it. Phil, thank you so much for the opportunity. Seriously, these athletes are amazing, and I'm just very fortunate to have such a supportive family, friends, coworkers. And the Special Olympics program of Maryland works really, really hard with our law enforcement to make sure that our athletes have the most opportunities available to them. So thank you very much for having me.
No problem. And again, we appreciate all your work as you back these Special Olympic athletes, and we can't wait to hear the stories once you return. Amber, we will talk to you soon. I hope to see you around. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Take care.